Yes. Yeah. Yes, alright. Okay, yeah. Okay, alright. Okay, alright. Okay, alright. Stop. Shut up! Shut up! Yes, your prophet has returned once again, everybody. Man, does it feel great to be back in this costume, in front of this green screen, in front of this camera. It's been 2 months. It's been 2 very long months. Schools and finals and being lazy can do that to you. But, like I said, it's very great to be back. So, what were we doing again today? I got a package today. I wonder what's in it. Why don't we open it up and see? Provoke habits. Yes, my friend Lewis actually made another one of these albums. You think that he'd see what happened last time and just stay away from the whole music thing altogether, but no, he actually made this. I'm just shocked beyond words. Seriously? Provoke habit? This album is provoking my habit to start drinking bleach again. Okay, to be fair, I am overplaying the shock value of seeing this album because we've already been through this song and dance 2 times already. Yeah, it's been 2 times. It's been a year and we're still doing the exact same thing over and over again. Is that just what this channel is gonna be? Just me standing in front of this green screen, yelling and screaming and ranting about albums that nobody cares about, that nobody will ever listen to? Is this really the end? Is this really my path and my future as a YouTuber? Really? Well, if it's gonna be that way, then we're not doing this in front of the green screen anymore. In fact, to show you just how much I'm sick of this green screen, watch this. Okay, that wasn't as climactic as I hoped, but you get the message, right? So let's go. Yeah, much better. So, Provoke habits. Now I do actually have a little bit more faith in this album than the other one, because Until I Die was released only 1 month after Issue with Aggression, while Provoke Habit was given 11 months to simmer before being released. So, at least it has a time advantage going for it. Could this album actually be good? But before I subject myself to this, let's take a look at the first 2 albums that actually helped me start off this channel, because I really don't think I did them enough justice, and I really think now is as good of a time as ever to go back and relook at them. So before we take a look at this, let's first take a little retrospective review of the first 2 albums that helped make me into the self-contained thinker I am today. Now, Issue with Aggression has honestly aged a little better with me. Does that mean it's good? No. But it seems with every single time I listen to it, it just gets funnier and funnier. Sure, the rhyming is nonsensical and the production values are broken beyond belief, but I honestly can't see it as being anything but that. It's like one of those bad horror movies that you put in to poke fun at. Sure, you could be one of those jerks that has to critically analyze every single aspect of it, but it's really not made for that, and what do you really expect to get out of it? It's a guilty pleasure that does what it sets out to do well. Sure, the humor might be derived more from how god-awful it is than the actual content itself, but in the end, does it really matter? It's funny, and that's all it needs to be. In short, Issue with Aggression is an album that's so bad it actually starts to become kinda good. That's why I'm upping my score for Issue with Aggression to a 3 out of 10. Should anyone actually sit down and listen to this? Well, no. But if you ever wondered what a 3 out of 10 album sounds like, well, here you go. Until I Die, on the other hand, is a completely different story. I've never heard an album that physically harmed my ears until I cracked open this nightmare. The main problems with this album are twofold: the instrument choices and the mixing. Or should I say the lack of mixing. There are so many goddamn songs that utilize these screechy, horribly mixed guitars, and it just pierces your ears on every note. The lack of sound mixing makes it sound like the drums just aren't there, and it just turns everything into an apocalypse of noise. If Issues with Aggression was the bad movie, then Until I Die is the sequel that nobody asked for. The one that tries to take itself so seriously it just falls on its face and scrambles to find any reason to exist. It's downright terrible. Sure, you could argue that it has the same appeal of Issues with Aggression, seeing how it sounds so bad it's actually funny, but even that falls flat when you realize that Lewis has been hyping this album for 3 months. When I said that Until I Die was a better album than Issues with Aggression, I was deluding myself. If this is what more time and more polish looks like, then I guess we can all save ourselves a bunch of time, suffering, and pain and just start pouring cement into our ears right now. Until I Die gets a 2 out of 10. Enough said. So, getting back to the album at hand, Provoke Habits, what can I say? It's another album from my good friend Lewis. In addition to the digital version you can download off his channel, he was actually nice enough to give me a physical copy. Of course it's got the art and all that, some of which actually reminds me of the White Stripes, but the main piece here is the CD, which surprisingly has a nice little sticker on it. I know it's not much, but small touches like this make me realize that a lot of time and effort went into this album, so that's pretty nice. Now, I did mention the art, but can I show you the cover? Can anyone tell me what the hell this is? Lewis says it's a tribal tattoo, but I say that he's full of it. Then again, I guess I can say it's a bit of an improvement over the previous album art. Wouldn't you agree? So, what are we waiting for? Let's pop this in and take a listen. Oh, great. So he gave me a physical version but couldn't even name the songs on the CD? Well, that's nice. That means I gotta go do it manually. Good thing there's a track listing on the back. Anyways, with all that done, what does it sound like? Well, it sounds like an album from Lewis. I know that sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but there really isn't one clear thing I can say to accurately describe how this album sounds. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean it's bad. I just can't put my finger on this. Lewis says this album is supposed to be alternative rock and grunge or whatever, but it sounds like something beyond that. It's got that Keeponrockin404 vibe, if that makes any sense. In terms of the songs themselves, it's a bit of a mixed bag, with some songs that are okay at best, and some songs that are just completely forgettable. The only tracks that really stood out to me were Ultimatum and Mind of Hounds. Ultimatum because it's actually a pretty decent track, and Mind of Hounds because it has a really nicely put together music video by Dimension KC. I know that sounds pessimistic and a bit mean-spirited, but it's the honest truth. Most of the other tracks are purely disposable, and I know that's a bit strange coming from me, seeing as how I was able to find good things on the other albums, but take it from me in which I say that I was very wrong on the other ones. The album suffers from 3 main problems. The first problem is that Lewis cannot sing worth a damn. One would think he wouldn't need to look farther than his first 2 albums to figure this out, but please, hear me out. I've actually had this album for a little bit now in order to help Lewis iron out some bugs, fix some songs, and generally make sure that it's good enough for this review. For the most part, it was okay, but I told him to do one single thing. Fix the singing on a walk in the park. And you know what he did? He actually made it worse. Yeah, he actually went through and made it worse. And this isn't some intentional, oh, I'm trying to make it bad, la la la, this is funny. No, he actually went through trying to make it better. That's pretty sad. I went for a walk in the park today. I saw the people lose their minds astray. Everyone sunk down to the floor and cried their inner souls at that moment died. Oh God. I went for a walk in the park today. I saw the people lose their minds astray. Everyone
Everyone sunk down to the floor and cried their inner souls at that moment died. Oh God.
He says he kept it in because he actually wanted to make it funny, but let's be real here. If you wanted this to be your true, serious effort, why would you do that? Why would you intentionally keep the worst singing on your serious first album? I don't get it. Sure, the original version's not much better, but at least it's something. I can't even laugh at this because I know this knowledge. It's not funny to me. Most of the singing on the rest of the album isn't much better. It just goes all over the place and it doesn't know what it's doing. I'm dead serious when I say that the rapping on Issue with Aggression was better than the combined singing on this album. And that's not something to be proud of. The second problem is that the music is way too overproduced. Now, it might be hard to understand this if you've never worked with Fruity Loops before, but basically it goes something like this. So instead of actually mixing everything together so that the guitars don't overpower the drums and they don't overpower the singing and so on and so forth, he used a plugin called Soundgoodizer, which basically just raises the bass level and the volume level of all the instruments. Now, if it's used in tandem with other plugins, it actually can help make a song sound good, but here, it just makes it into an overproduced pile of mess. Take Social Justice Song, for example. It gets so overproduced and messy at times, it seriously reaches Until I Die levels of production. I'm dead serious.
Just fuck you. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Just fuck you. Fuck you and your warriors.
Most of the other songs don't fare much better. Even the very first track, Overture, suffers from this, and that's just an orchestrated piece. The third and final problem is that the music just isn't that good. There are some songs that start off good, but even they just dissolve into a whirlwind of electronic guitar noises. It gets grating to say the least. Take Kill Me, for example. It starts off nice and somber with a little guitar, and then it comes in with the drums, and it starts to sound pretty okay. This is what I would consider an okay song. But then after a very short while, yeah, not very pleasant anymore, is it? I know it's supposed to be big and full, playing all these mindless chords and stuff, but it just feels shallow. Going over each track like I normally do, we start off with Overture. It's a purely instrumental track that serves to open up the album, a task which could have been given to Mind of Hounds and been perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong with it per se, I just personally can't take it seriously because of the intros and outros on the previous album. Mind of Hounds is the main single and showcases the album pretty well, flaws and all. Lyrically, it covers the obligatory, religious, we have a Mind of Hounds mindset, and it doesn't really seem like anything I haven't seen before. The lyrics and message aren't particularly god-awful, but it just feels like the rhymes were very forced. It feels like this song should have just been done with a separate message, or not done at all, because really, we've all heard this before. What I mostly remember about this song is the animated music video by Casey, but don't worry, we'll get to that in a bit. The World Isn't Dead is one of those okay tracks I was talking about. The instrumentation is just dreadful. It doesn't sound right to me. It isn't catchy. It doesn't make any sense. And when that part comes in about halfway through the end, it seriously sounds like Until I Die. It's just the way those default fruity guitar sounds. How do you, for some reason for me at least, is just completely unlikable. It sounds a lot like The World Is Dead, but somehow even worse. The constant guitar tone doesn't really help anything but just annoy me, and the theme is just forgettable. The song also showcases some of the worst mixing problems on this album, with the chorus trying to sound big and open with all these guitars and basses, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Ultimatum, like I said before, is the real standout track here. It comes the closest to sounding like a decent song. And it may actually be that. Really, the only things I don't like are the wub-sounding dubstep that just comes in the middle for no reason, and the absolutely unnecessary, stupid music video. But, like I said, we'll get to that in a little bit. Boo Radley just doesn't appeal to me at all. It's again one of those okay songs, I guess, but it just sounds like an entire wall of noise being thrown at me. I find it very dreadful. For some reason, just this constant onslaught of noise, especially with it sounding so fake, doesn't appeal to me at all. Hate Has Me Hostage is just bad. The instrumentation is just laughable, and that riff is just ridiculous. It almost sounds like a parody of itself. The lyrics are also just weird. Overall, it just sounds very edgy, and I can't get behind this at all. Take Everything is slow and boring. Thankfully, the singing is a bit toned back, which works in its favor. The drums really stand out here for how bad they are. They just sound so fake because every single little strike sounds the same, and being that this is a song that relies you on listening to the drums, that's really a problem. It actually seems like it's gonna be decent for the most part until about halfway through when it pulls this little stunt for no reason. At least the guitar solo at the end helped make up for it. Love is Love and Love is All is a song about gay love. I'm not making that up. It's a self-described serious song and... a serious song? That's never backfired on any of his albums before. Anyways, the song is pretty short, but basically it's about how Lewis wants gays to have equal rights or something like that. That's sweet. There's only like 4 instruments used in this, and to be honest, that works out in its favor. It doesn't sound overblown, it doesn't sound fake, it doesn't sound phony, and it doesn't try to pull anything. But oh wait, is there any reason why the song needs to repeat the same set of lyrics 3 whole times? Talk about filler. Chores is just hilarious to me. I mean, just listen to it. We went from a soft, serious song to probably the most silly and absolutely out-of-this-world song that there is on this album. I like it. I mean, if you're gonna go in that one direction, you might as well go as far as you can. You're Wrong sucks. It has an issue with aggression beat and Until I Die lyrics. This track adds nothing to the album and has a retarded bass line. Frankly, I'm just sick of listening to it, so I'm just gonna skip past it. A Walk in the Park is amazing. I actually like the concept and the instrumentation, but god damn it if Lewis didn't find a way to screw it up.
I saw the people lose their minds astray. Everyone sunk down to the floor and cried.
No! Raping the USA is pretty mediocre for the most part, until a laughable guitar section just pops out in the middle. Aside from that, it's just okay. The instrumentation is fine, I guess. Although it does remind me a lot of Nuclear Aftermath. I think it's the guitar. Social Justice Song is a song about social justice warriors, and the less said about them, the better. But I sort of like this song. I like the driving beat, and I like the message that we're all equal, regardless of skin or gender. Kill Me, like I said before, starts off strong, but quickly delves into a humongous mess of noise. At least it's an energetic way to leave off the album. Now that that's out of the way, we can talk about the music videos. In regards to them, the only one that really matters is the one for Mine of Hounds. Yes, technically Ultimatum does have a music video, but look at this! It's just a solid, unbroken video of traffic. And yes, filming the street while in the passenger seat of a car does count as a video, but it just seems incredibly lazy when you compare it to even efforts contributed in the past albums. It's even more lazy than the one for Let's Go, and that's one hell of an achievement. In terms of the music video commissioned by Dimension KC, it is a bit of a step up from his work on Until I Die with I'm a Threat, but like the actual song, it just goes on for too long. This results in the animation starting off pretty strong, with a good amount of impressive shots that are well suited for the song, but it slowly deteriorates until it's literally just stick figures and random shapes. I don't blame him. I can't imagine being able to animate a whole 30 seconds of footage, let alone 5 minutes. Still, it could have been handled a little better. To tell you the truth, I feel that this album is a bit of a necessary evil. It does fix a lot of the problems presented by Until I Die, but I really don't feel like this album has much of a right to exist. I mean really, aside from Ultimatum, are any of the songs here really worth listening to? This is the album that Until I Die should have been, and if this was released in place of that, I would have been a little bit more impressed. As it stands, I can only really hope that the future will hold better things, I guess. Given Lewis's singing skills, on the other hand. So, I guess that's it. That's Provoke Habit. I hope this review was everything you guys were hoping it to be. I mean, there's not really much I could have said. And to be honest, I don't even know if I'm going to review any more albums after this. At least not albums outside of the ones that Lewis releases, because frankly, if you couldn't tell by this review, I've kind of run out of things to say. So I guess all that's left is to give Provoke Habit a final score. Uh-oh. Small problem here. But, small problem here, guys. I can't seem to find the physical copy of Provoke Habits. See, I promised Lewis I was gonna give that one a 10 out of 10. I mean, this isn't Provoke Habit. Look, it says not Provoke Habit. It's not Provoke Habit. So, I mean, I would have given that one a 10 out of 10, but since that's not here, I guess we gotta substitute it. So, the digital version of Provoke Habit, which everyone can get, and the only one that anyone can really get, I'm giving that one a 4 out of 10. Like I said, it's not bad, and I know I've been a bit negative in this review, but really, it doesn't try to be anything more than it is, and for what it is, it's just mediocre. It's merely okay. Now, if there had been some hypothetical self-contained edition with all these issues ironed out, then I probably would have given it a 10 out of 10. But unfortunately, what we have right here is the finished product. So that's been Provoke Habits. I've been the Self-Contained Thinker, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Yeah! Done with this damn review.